That toggle, dark to light, light to dark, every control updating instantly is what this video builds from scratch. No material design XAML, no Bunifu, no NuGet packages whatsoever. Just XAML, a resource dictionary, and 3 lines of C Sharp. If you have watched the WinForms video, you already know the concept design tokens, a named color constants that the whole app references. In that video, we stored them as static read-only color fields in C Sharp. In WPF, there's a better home for them, the resource dictionary. Same idea, native WPF architecture. By the end of this video, you will have a fully themable WPF app, a reusable dark and light dictionary you can drop into any future project, and a clear understanding of how WPF theming system actually works under the hood. My name is Ronak, and you're watching Vector Art. Before we start, I want to answer the obvious question, MaterialDesignXAML, which is a great library. It's well maintained, it looks good, and if you need to ship something quickly, it's a fine choice. But there's a problem with using it. And when you are learning, it's over 200,000 lines of XAML that you don't understand. And when it breaks, and at some point it will break, and you can't fix it. When you are a designer, you ask for a color that's slightly off the material palette, you don't know where to change it. This video teaches you what material design is doing internally. Once you understand the resource dictionary system, you own your theme completely. You can change anything, extend anything, and explain everything to anyone who looks at your code. So here I have my project open, which is a WPF project. And the step one would be to create a new folder called themes in our project. So let's go to Solution Explorer, and under this project, let's add a new folder called themes. And within themes, we will create a new file or a new item called resource dictionary. So let's add new item, and there we will look for resource dictionary. Over here, and name this Dark.xaml, and click on OK. And here we have our resource dictionary. I have the code ready, which I will paste, and then I will explain you what it is. So Control A, Control V, and here I have my resource dictionary, and this file is exactly equivalent to the file that we created in the WinForms application tutorial. And this file is the WPF equivalent of the 9 static read-only color constants from our WinForms video. Same semantic names, same intent, but now they live in XAML as solid color brushes resources, which is what WPF controls expect for painting. So we have all our brushes over here, which will be used by different controls to paint the colors on top of them. So these are the 9 brushes that the entire color system will be using. And now we will wire this to our app.xaml, which I've already done. So here in our app.xaml, which resides here under our project, I have opened this app.xaml file, and here I have wired our resource dictionary under these application resources, resource dictionary. And I have added this merge dictionary per section pointing to our file dark.xaml. So now let's apply our first brush to our window. So if I go to my solution explorer and open my main window over here, I have went ahead and added this app background brush, which is our first brush to our window. Of course, you cannot see the resource or the brush applied, because here you can see the color shows as a dark shade of blue. But since there are a lot of areas where the hard coding of the color is done, you will not see the color being applied, because these are the controls that are residing or on top of the main window. So if I for example remove this part, you can see the color is there. It's just that these colors on the controls are overlaid on the main window. So that is fixed, and now we have successfully implemented a brush on our main window. So now step 2 is going to show you exactly why and what's wrong choice for theming. So in this resource dictionary is wired and working, of course, but I used a static resource, as you can see over here, deliberately, because in step 2 I'm going to show you exactly why and what's wrong with this choice of theming, and the difference will be very obvious. Now we apply every brush token to every control in the main window.xaml. Every hard-coded hex code, every background white, every foreground will be replaced by a dynamic resource reference. For example, this sidebar border goes from this value to a dynamic value. So let's do it. So instead of this hex code over here, we will update it to a dynamic value. So dynamic resource sidebar brush, and let's do the same for our border. So let me copy this and paste it over here, and instead of sidebar brush I'll use a border brush. And that in that way you can see over here, if I try to say zoom in over here, you can see the brush is being is applied. So I will do the same for all the controls, and um, for example the sidebar, main panel, stats card, filter bar, data grid, and get back. So as you can see, I have updated all the controls, and you can see the result over here. The all the brushes are dynamically applied to all the controls over here, and let's run it. So you will see that the full dark theme is now applied to the entire app from the dictionary. Now I want to show you the most important concept in this entire video, because this is the mistake everyone makes the first time. Static resource resolves once at load time. It reads the value from the from the dictionary when the window initializes and never looks again. If you swap the dictionary later, nothing updates. Dynamic resources watches for changes. Every time the source value changes, including when you swap the entire dictionary, every dynamic resource binding reevaluates and updates instantly. The rule is simple: if a value might change at runtime, use dynamic resource. For theming, that means every single binding. You might have noticed the buttons in step 2 still look default, white, rounded Windows Chrome. That's because WPF button ignores background on its own. It has a built-in Chrome that paints over whatever you set. To fix this, we need a control template. This replaces the entire visual tree of the button with our own. We define it in our Dark.xaml as an implicit style, meaning it has a target type but no X key. WPF applies it automatically to every button in the app. So let's do it. So let me stop this application, and in our dark.xaml we will add a style for our button, and inside it a control template with a border and a content presenter. Then the important part is the triggers. So let me first uncomment this. I've already written this style over here, and I will just show you what it is. So I will uncomment this part in my dark.xaml, and here you can see I have the target type as button, and it is of X type button, and there are no X keys to specifically target a specific button. So this applies to every button on the window. And then you have some setters which define the background, which we have used our dynamic resource brushes, foreground, border brushes, border thickness, and all the properties that I want for my button to look. So these are the things. Then I will also comment this. So here you can see we have our control template, and it is also targeting a type button, and here you can see it has this border, and it has a corner radius of 5 to have this rounded edges, and then it has these triggers. So these triggers will handle the hover and press events, and when the mouse is over it will change the accent color of the button, and when the mouse has left it will change the button back to how it was. So this is how we achieve this animations using the triggers, and this is our setter for our button, or the theme that we will apply for our button. In the WinForms video we used on mouse enter and on mouse leave in C# to handle hover. In WPF we entirely do it in XAML with IsMouseOver trigger, and no code behind, no event handlers, pure declarative XAML. And also you notice that we do not have the X key on the style. that makes it implicit. WPF automatically applies it to every button in scope. And we'll run this application and hover on the button, and the hover state will work exactly and entirely in XAML. And now you can see we have the rounded buttons here on the top, and when you hover on it, you have this different brush applied to the buttons. Next is creating light theme. So to create this light theme, I have created one more file called Light.xaml within our themes folder. So it's the same structure. So let me open this. So it's the same structure as the Dark.xaml, same X keys names on every brush. You can see the same brushes, different, but the color values, if you see, they are different from the dark theme. So all of these are towards the light theme, but the keys for the brushes remain the same. So different color values for the light and grays and whites instead of dark colors. This is the entire secret of the toggle system. Same keys, different values. Because all our bindings use dynamic resources, swapping the dictionary is all we need to do. The window XAML doesn't change at all. So let's do this toggle method in our app.xaml cs. So let's go to our solution explorer, and under in our app.xaml cs under xaml, you will see this function that I have written over here, and I have a few things defined. First of all, this property is dark equal to true, which we will use to toggle our theme. And then these are a few lines which will update our entire dictionary. So this is the entire runtime theming engine, these three lines of C sharp. And the merge dictionaries dot clear removes the current theme, and the merge dictionaries dot add dictionary basically loads the new one. Every dynamic resource binding in the entire app reevaluates against the new dictionary instantly. That's it. And we add a toggle button to the top bar in the main window .xaml. Basically that calls the app. So let me show you what I mean. So in our main window, we have added this new button called toggle theme, and this toggle theme calls the theme toggle underscore click. So if I go to my code behind over here and open this code, here you can see we have this function called theme toggle dot click. And basically what this does is this method basically swaps the merged dictionaries, and every dynamic resource in the window updates instantly. So here you can see the application dot current dot theme toggle. And now if I run the application, you can see based on this value of is true or false, is dark true or false, it will either apply the dark theme or the light theme. So let me run this application now and click on this button, and it will instantly change the theme from dark to light and from light to dark. In the WinForms video, we built reusable controls using on-paint overrides. We drew them manually with a graphics object. In WPF, the approach is different. We use user controls, XAML files that define the visual tree with dependency properties in the code behind that expose bindable properties to consumers. We are building two nav item for the sidebar navigation and a stat card for the summary titles. Both will respond to the theme toggle automatically because they are using dynamic resource and set resource reference internally. So as you can see over here, I have added this new folder called controls, and within this controls folder, I have added two user controls. One is the nav item and the other is the stat card. A plain C# property on a user control cannot be data bound, cannot participate in XAML triggers, and cannot be animated. To make a property first class in WPA property system, you register it as a dependency property. So here you can see within our stat cards, we have defined multiple dependency properties. And for stat card, the value brush key property is a string, meaning the name of the brush key like success brush or app background brush will reside in this. And in the property changed callback at the bottom over here, we call set resource reference on the value text blocks, which links to it to the live dictionary. So that's why the stat card value colors update on theme toggle without any extra effort or code. So now all we have to do is run this application. I will not go into detail on how to create this user control, but because that is not the point of this video. But of course, I will leave this code in the description to the GitHub repository that I have uploaded this code to, and you can check out how the user control is constructed and how it works. So for the final reveal, I will run this application, and we will see the entire application toggle from dark to light and light to dark. So here's the finished app, everything we built. Every button, every sidebar item, every stat card, and every data grid view row all respond to dictionary swaps. No hard-coded colors anywhere in the window XAML. No C# color constant, just brush tokens, dynamic resource binding, and 3 lines of toggle code. And if you pull up the WinForms app from the previous video, next to the same inventory data app concept, completely different architecture. That's the difference between WinForms and WPF theming. Both are valid. Now you have to understand both. 3 takeaways to take with you. 1. The resource dictionary is the right home for design tokens in WPF. Same concept as static color constants, native architecture. 2. Always use dynamic resource for anything that participates in a theme. Static resource resolves once and never updates. That one word is the difference between a theme toggle that works and a one that doesn't. 3. Implicit styles, a style with target type but no key, are the scalable WPF theming pattern. Define once in the dictionary, applies everywhere automatically. That's how you theme an entire app without touching every control individually. Drop a comment. Which approach do you prefer? WinForms on paint controls or WPF user controls with dependency properties? There's no wrong answer. They are different tools for different jobs. I want to know which clicked better with you. If this video was useful, subscribe. Every video on this channel is built around the same goal, turning .NET developers into developers who can also design. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, bye-bye.